Welcome to Pathetic, the podcast, where we talk about our favorite teams, things that are going on in every sport that we follow, and even as Michael attests to, some that we don't really follow. But thanks for coming by. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe. We could definitely use the subscriptions and the likes. And if you're a regular and you haven't subscribed or liked, come on, what are you waiting for? We're doing this here for you. This is not for us. This is not for us. This is for you. Okay, Mike. Before I even introduce both of my co-hosts, Mike, that outfit is amazing, by the way. And tell us why.
It is Derby week. We are ready to go. This is a tradition like no other. Every Friday before the Derby, this suit comes out from the mothballs. It's worn every single year. When I eventually get to Churchill Downs for a Derby, I will be wearing this suit. It is certainly much tighter than it was 15 years ago when I bought it, but it still fits. The pants are a little looser this year, so shout out to the diet. And yeah, we are ready to go. I'm excited. This is in my top 3 is Kentucky Derby, so I am ready for this week, and I'm excited to recap everything else going on because it is a busy time of year. It is a fun time of year. I am all kinds of jacked up this week. Jeff, how are we doing?
Yeah, I noticed that there's 2 kinds of people that care or don't care about the Kentucky Derby. You have the people that don't care at all. Then you have the people like Mike who not only watch it, but they dress up in the crazy tux. They are locked in. They got their bets locked in. They're ready to go. So I'm not a big Derby guy, but I do enjoy the festivities of it. So, Mike, that is a fantastic outfit, brother.
The good thing is, Mike, keep that outfit handy because if they ever decide to have another spokesperson for Kentucky Fried Chicken, you might be the guy. I mean, you're ready.
Yeah. Put me up on the bucket. I'm ready to go.
I would love you on the bucket.
I'm not only a spokesman, I'm a client.
Yeah. We will be making, at least Mike and I will be making our Derby picks later. But the first thing we want to get to is the NFL draft. Yeah, again, it's amazing. We're essentially watching a flesh auction where we have no control over anything. Unless you're betting on where these guys are going to get drafted, there's no betting interest. But we're watching it and we're locked in and we're thinking that we know much, much more than the general managers that are making the picks. So tonight, Jeff is going to handle the Giant stuff. And, Mike and I will give our thoughts. And then Mike and I will handle the Jet stuff. And Jeff can also give his thoughts on that. But Jeff, you had, I think, the more exciting NFL draft, probably the most exciting one you've had in a long time.
It's been a long time, and it's so funny. It's so funny you say that because I'm usually very pessimistic about the Giants drafts. But I thought that Shane and Dable on paper, they hit it out of the park this weekend. I really thought they did a great job. Now, obviously, just like every player and every team, this is all on paper. Right, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Mm-hmm. But with that said, look, I think the Giant fans universally agree that they did a great job. The obvious pick was Carter. I don't think that was any kind of skills involved in picking that guy. We all knew he was the guy. But to show some guts and to show some conviction to trade up and get the quarterback that they wanted, I loved everything about it. And, they deserve credit for that. And here's the good thing. They didn't give up really much at all. Right, a couple of third rounders, that's nothing to get who you hope is the quarterback, especially if they see something in Dart that they can work with. This is their guy. This is their guy now. And that's what, as a Giant fan, I'm excited about. This is the first time Dable was actually able to pick the guy he wanted. So you guys may call me crazy here. Maybe the listeners think I'm nuts. But to me, the last 3 years of Brian Dable have been erased. The Dable and Shane era begins this season.
I agree.
And yeah, listen, we'll be able to see the guys that they drafted also, by the way, previously, now coming into their own, along with the fact that now they have a quarterback that they chose. But, I said it last week on the show, the Giants are putting together the primary focus on a defensive dominant team. Love the Darius Alexander pick. That was their second round pick. Defensive tackle out of Toledo. They're stocking that D-line. I also think it's a smart way to go about it because you look at Wilson. He's not the same guy as he used to be in terms of scoring points, but he's efficient. So if the defense can keep these games low scoring, that's going to give Wilson a much higher probability to win these games. And the last thing I'll add here, I also think the Giants, contrary to belief of some of the quote unquote pundits, the Giants have a very good quarterback situation right now for a young quarterback. Right? Jackson Dart's more than likely not going to see the field this year. So instead, he's going to sit behind, one of the most professional, smartest quarterbacks we've ever seen and learn from him. Right? To me, that's a great quarterback room. So I would give, it's funny because I think my average grade for the Giants for their draft is usually like a C minus. I'm giving them an A plus. I thought they nailed it. Again, they have to prove it on the field, but on paper, what they did, I was, as Mike would say, all kinds of jacked up for it.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I think it is a great situation to learn from because I think we've talked about this on a couple of other episodes. If you're a rookie quarterback, you have a professional guy like Russell Wilson being able to show you how to be a player. You also have Jameis Winston there to say, hey, sometimes you got to throw the ball up and try to make a play. So you're going to have a nice mix of those two together. It's almost going to be like a marriage where you can get those two pieces together and let Jackson Dart do its thing and learn for a year, get some experience, probably get some action in the preseason here. Hopefully he doesn't get into the games because then you're going to have either Russell Wilson getting hurt and then Jameis Winston throwing 17 interceptions in a game. That's the only way, hopefully, he gets on the field. But I think you're right. I think the way they went about the draft, they didn't give up much for Dart. They went straight with the defensive tackle and Carter obviously is the no-brainer pick. I loved what they did in those early rounds. So I wouldn't say A plus because it's sort of incomplete because of the quarterback. You never know what he's going to be. But I would certainly say like B plus A minus range for them for sure. Ted, what do you think?
I'm going to say A plus. And the reason I say A plus is because of what Jeff said. And Mike, you and I talk about this all the time. When a GM is going to make a move, if they do it with conviction, how could you fault them? It's their job.
Yep.
And if they're going to lose, if they're going to go down with the ship, they need to go down with the players that they want and have conviction that they want. Now, they wanted Jackson Dart. Again, we don't know what Jackson Dart's going to be, but if it turns out in 2 years that he's not what they wanted, they did not give up the ranch for this guy.
Right.
So it's not going to put them back. The only thing that I disagree with Jeff on, the only thing, I saw a lot of Russell Wilson last year. He stinks. Honestly, I'm telling you, he stinks. And I think that the faster Jackson Dart can get up to speed, the better off you're going to be. And he's supposedly a very smart kid, very smart. I think that I hope that Dable has the intestinal fortitude to pull him out, Russell Wilson, I mean, when he feels he has to come out the way Tomlin did not, which surprised me. Tomlin took Fields out. Fields was 4-2. He put Russell Wilson in. They're in the middle of a crap run, and he never puts him back in, which to me, I would have thought that Tomlin would have said, all right, let's make the move. But I do think it's a good quarterback room for this kid to learn. I like Jackson Dart a lot. I think he will be your future quarterback. Will he be a Super Bowl champion? Who the heck knows?
Yeah, that remains to be seen.
Who knows?
But
I think he's going to be good, though.
Yeah, the Russell Wilson thing, I don't think he sucks because he had 16 touchdowns in 11 games. If you look at his numbers over the past 2 years, he's in the mid-20s to touchdowns. But forget his skill set. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about a pro's pro.
Yes.
How to study, right?
Yes.
How to conduct yourself on the fields, right? Russell's a little weird. He's cringe, but he still plays the game and does the right things that makes you a winner as a quarterback. If his physical skill set's not there, which, by the way, it may be completely finished by next year because he's not getting any younger. I think sitting behind a guy like that to watch how he conducts himself in the film room, how he interacts with his team, all those things. That's what I'm referring to when I mean sitting behind a pro.
Yeah, even interacting with the press. I mean,
Yeah,
he's great.
yeah.
He's great with the media. If Jackson Dart learns nothing else from him, that'll be huge for him.
Yes.
You know, coming from, I guess, originally from Utah, then he goes to, Mississippi and all. So
Yeah.
and I tell you, I mean, I'm a Jet fan. I think the Giants hit it out of the park. I think they did a great job, and I do agree with you. I think Shane and Dable just got a reset, and a well-deserved reset.
Agreed.
Well-deserved reset.
Agreed.
Yep. As long as you show improvement this year, you're gonna. I agree with you. You're gonna have, if you can somehow win 6, 7 games, and you're in a lot of these games, and there's not blowouts, and there's some excitement about the team, especially the young guys that they're gonna have playing. Absolutely, you're gonna see them continue to stay with and run the course, and as the Sixers fans would say, trust the process. So,
and I'll tell you this: as soon as you're out of the playoffs, immediately I put Jackson Dart in.
You put him in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I would like to see him this year, actually, believe it or not.
Sure.
But I think it depends if he's ready, because I'm not so sure he's going to. He's got a ton of talent, right? And he has the tangibles. He has the size. He has the arm.
Yeah.
The game speed might be a little different for him. We've seen him in some of these games where when the pressure's on, he tends to get a little shaky. So I think if by, let's say, week 10, if he's not ready, I don't want to see him. I don't want to ruin him, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I wouldn't mind him sitting, but I would like him to be ready halfway through the season. And, if the Giants are out of it, which hopefully they're not, see him play, get him in there. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
The other thing, too, you could think about is at some point, if he looks like he's going to be ready and some team's quarterback gets hurt, who knows? You could trade
Jameis Winston
for somebody to get a piece that you're missing. If you're in the hunt and you want to see what Dart's going to do, I would absolutely think that you could probably do that at this point.
And a lot of people pointed to Dart's team losing to Florida in that. Was it the championship game? Or was it the SEC or a late game? Oh no, it was the game that Ole Miss would have made the playoff.
Yeah, that's
right?
yes.
Had they won.
Yep.
But nobody comes out and says his number one wide receiver on a touchdown pass that Dart threw him got injured.
Yeah.
And from that point on, the offense went to hell.
Yep.
So I mean, let's look at everything here. You can't just kill the kid when you're not give the kid a little break on this one.
I would agree.
So, and I heard Tommy Cutlets requested a trade. Did you hear that today?
No,
He
not
did.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets
on.
requested a trade. Yeah. I think they're trading him to Fiore's Deli in Hoboken.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I don't know. He's fun. Let him stay. Give him league minimum. No one's paying him money. Let him stay. Come on. But that's funny.
Now, Mike, we had a weird draft as Jet fans because normally they make sure that they put cameras in the Jet draft room and they got people waiting. Sal Palantonio is waiting for comments and everything. And this year was very, very different. What did you think of what the Jets did?
So I really like their first 3 picks in this draft are absolute home runs. You have a great offensive tackle. Again, as we talked about last time, plug him right in. He's going to be a right tackle for a decade here if he stays. You got Mason Taylor, who is a beast of a tight end. And you got what a lot of people thought was the steal of the 3rd round in Thomas, the corner from Florida State. I think those 3 picks and anything that else the rest of the day, people are like, the 4th and 5th round picks were really bad. And who cares at that point? Those ones are flyers. You hope that there's something that comes out of them, but you're not going to sit there and try to make something out of nothing in the 4th or 5th round. No, everyone thinks that they're going to get the next Tom Brady in the 4th, in the 5th and 6th round, but half those guys are bagging groceries a year or 2 after the draft. So the money picks rounds 1, 2, and 3, absolutely out of the park. Great value, great needs for them. They got another corner who you could put next to Sauce. You got a tight end who is a player, and you got another offensive lineman, which are 3 needs that you really wanted to have going into this year, especially with what they lost in the offseason. So they filled 3 holes, and we're going to see how this team does with it. Really depends on what Fields is going to be as to what this team really is, because there's still talent there. Everyone says, the Jets weren't that good, but they had talent last year. They just had no one to lead them in the right direction. And it sounds like Aaron Glenn and Muji are saying this stops right now. We are not going to be the same old Jets. We are going to do this professionally. We are going to be a team that is not going to be in the headlines. We're not going to have Rich Cimini and Diana Rossini and all the Eenies going after everyone with all these leaks and everything else. We are going to run a tight ship. We're going to do things professionally, and we are just going to shut up and play football. So I am excited for this year. I am excited for May 14th when the schedule comes out. And we'll see how, again, it'll all depend on what Fields is with this sort of offense, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm curious, Ted, what are your thoughts?
Well, I loved Membo. Now, if they didn't get Mason Taylor after passing on Tyler Warren, I would have been upset. But we got the tight end. I agree with you 100% on the third pick. That kid was a steal. The one thing, the kid we picked in the 4th round, Arian Smith from Georgia, he does have some problem with drops. Okay, he does. But he could be a guy that really comes out of nowhere to be your 4th or even your 5th wide receiver. Listen, I think already he's better than Xavier Gibson or that guy Brownlee. So, and whatever you get out of him, you get. I think the winner in this draft was Justin Fields. Because the Jets not being tempted to grab one of those quarterbacks really tells you something. And it tells you that they believe in Justin Fields. And this might be the first organization that really fully believes in him. Chicago took him with the 11th pick, and they treated him pretty crappy his time there. He went to Pittsburgh. They gave him a lot of love and gave up on him when he was 4-2. But I really think the Jets, I think they're saying, listen, we believe you could be our guy. We don't know if you're going to be, but we believe you could be. I think that's going to help this kid a lot. He's very talented.
Absolutely. You saw it last year. You saw it last year in those 6 games with Pittsburgh, you saw what happened after he was there. I would absolutely say that's enough for me to at least take a shot. You didn't give up the farm to get him. You can always go back and get a quarterback next year when there's I think there's a lot more quarterbacks coming next year in the draft. So it's definitely something that you're going to be able to, if it's not the guy, reset and get your guy next year.
Yeah. And I remember, when we did our first round or our top 10 review, I didn't think it was a bad pick to get the lineman, but I really thought they should have went with Tyler Warren. So I gave that pick a C. I'm going to upgrade that pick to a B now because of the tight end they got in the 2nd round in Mason Taylor, right? Because I'm not saying he'll be as good as the guy I wanted, but still, it doesn't matter. It's a guy that can play the position. We know he's good, and it's funny, Uncle Ted. You mentioned Arian Smith. He has a case of the dropsies. That's something that you can fix. That's not a speed problem. That's not an attitude problem. That's not a football IQ problem. Practice, get better. He's going to get older. He's going to get more mature as a player. And I agree with you. I think Justin Fields won this draft. I mean, they are committed. They are committed to Justin Fields because they could have got. Actually, to be honest, guys, it's so funny. We were texting back and forth there in the draft, and we were joking around like, "Oh God, watch the Jets get Shedeur Sanders." I thought they were going to get him. I really did. I thought they were going to say, "You know what?" Yeah, I'm like, you know what? And by the way, if they got him in like the 5th round or something like that, I would have been like, all right, it's not the end of the world. You didn't get him in the 3rd. It wouldn't have been horrendous. but I really thought they were going to take a stab at him, and they didn't.
I
They
love it.
didn't. None of them. None of the
Yeah.
quarterbacks. Not Orrs. Not Milrow.
Right.
Who else was there? Milrow and the other guy.
McCord, Howard, Milrow,
Shuck. There were guys there for the Jets to get, and it wouldn't have been a crazy thing to do theoretically, right? Because we don't know Justin Fields if this is going to work, But they're committed, and I thought the Jets. It's funny they didn't have like a Giants draft where there was all this like drama and excitement, but it doesn't matter. You want boring. We talked about that last week. Give me the boring, smart picks.
Yeah.
Good enough for me. So I thought the Jets did a really good job.
Before I get to your guys, give me one of your thoughts on overall with the draft. Mike, you talked about Aaron Glenn possibly being the guy, and the Hurricanes have just scored 3 goals in 5 minutes, so it's now 3-3.
Jeez.
So, you talk about Aaron Glenn being the guy, but I follow Rich Cimini on Twitter, and Rich Cimini never misses an opportunity to bash the Jets. I haven't seen a bash tweet from him since Aaron Glenn was hired. He's very supportive.
Slug up the holes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's I think that is a big thing coming from Glenn. Jeff, what did you think? Like, give me one of your thoughts about the draft, like your overall thought about the draft.
Well, I think we should do a welfare check on Mel Kiper to make sure he's okay after the Sanders free fall. But listen, I think the big story is Shedeur Sanders, right? I don't think it was this crazy draft outside of the Sanders, saga where we saw anything nuts. But, I'm not really surprised he fell out of the first or even the second round. But I am kind of surprised that he fell down as far as he did, considering you have teams like the Steelers and the Browns who end up getting him, who really needed a quarterback, especially the Steelers. But to me, when you're talking about Shedeur falling, it's partially on him, but I actually think Dion is a problem too.
Yeah.
Right? I think if Dion wasn't in the picture, he probably would have been drafted higher. Right? I think teams are worried that you not only have to manage Shedeur, now you have to manage Dion too. If he's unhappy with the game plan, he's going to be on the toilet bowl tweeting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now you got to manage those two. And I also heard, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, that Shedeur interviewed with the Giants and they were interested. And it was a complete disaster. Apparently, came in unprepared. And Dable, who called him out on it, which you've seen him do many times to quarterbacks, Shedeur went back at him and was arguing with him and basically got kicked out of the damn interview. This guy he's a problem. He's not a bad kid. He's not going to get arrested, God willing. He's not going to do anything to where you're like, oh man, this guy is a bad person, but he's just way too cocky for his own good. And the quarterback position is not a defensive lineman where you want the cocky guy. You want the guy who's talking crap. That's not what the quarterback is. A CEO, right? Mm-hmm. And Shedeur Sanders has the attitude of a defensive lineman, and I think teams stayed away from it. The Browns are crazy. They got 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks in this draft. The Browns are always going to Brown, right? It's unbelievable. But
that is a Jimmy Haslett pick after they already got the quarterback, and they said, "Oh my God." Yeah. He's still there in the 5th round. We have to take him. And he said, I don't care. I'm calling in this pick. We're going to take him. And now you have a quarterback room that is Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, and the 2 guys you just drafted. What?
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, I'm used to us being in that situation where we're the complete mess. And we're in a Tim Tebow kind of situation where everybody, as soon as one guy messes up, they want this guy coming in. You have 4 guys you could do that with right now. If somebody stinks in there, you're just going to have a rotating thing. You're just going to have guys tagging in like WWE for quarterbacks in that room. It's going to be one every week.
I got to tell you, hashtag pray for Flacco. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be a babysitter.
Well, I'll tell you 2 things with the draft. One directly with the draft. He even after he was drafted, he's got to be in that legendary room that he built. And then I didn't realize this until I started seeing highlights. Do you know instead of a C on his jersey for captain, he had L for legendary?
Ugh.
I mean, that makes you throw up in your mouth. The other thing was I heard, and I don't know what team it was, but the GM said he walked in with 3 or 4 of his entourage. He had the Beats headphones around his neck, blasting music, blasting. And the GM said to him, "Could you shut the music?" And he said, "Why?"
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, that's just, and then
Stupid.
the other thing was, Dion actually said, I think it was Saturday night or Sunday morning, he intends on meeting with his son and the Browns to find out, what are your plans for my son? Here's your plans. You're the 4th string quarterback right now. Work your ass off so that maybe you could become the 3rd string. Come on, man. What are you doing?
I heard something today that said that maybe it would have been smart if maybe he doesn't sign and goes back to school and transfers somewhere else, not under his dad, and say, I'm going to play 1 year under somebody else, show that I am I'm humbled. I am not going to be this bravado guy like my dad, and I want to be a good quarterback.
He will not do that.
He will not do that, but
no chance.
It's crazy. It's a shame. Listen, here's the thing, too, with Shador. Now it's going to be interesting because you would think, and it's almost like you got to take Shador out of this box, this category. But if this happens to any competitor, usually they look at it like Aaron Rodgers did, where, okay, now I got something to prove.
Right.
I'm going to work my ass off. I got a little taste of humble pie, which, by the way, it's not that embarrassing, to me at least, to fall down in the draft. Like, it happens. It happens to a lot of players that should have got drafted higher. Like, to me, it shouldn't be embarrassing, but his ego gets in the way too much. But if I'm Shador, I'm like, listen, man, you're going to regret not picking me, and I'm going to show you why. But I think he's maybe saying that now, but I think he cares more about the image than anything else. I think that's probably like his bigger concern. Like, okay, now I got to up my Instagram followers. Now I got to do this and that and flash this.
Right.
So does he have talent? Yes, there's no question about it. I watched a lot of him last year. He has talent, but there's just too much of the extracurricular nonsense that coaches were clearly shying away from.
Well, another GM said if he played in the SEC, he would have gotten his butt whipped all year.
Probably.
Yep.
So
probably.
Well, so we'll see. Training camp will be here before you know it. I can't wait. I love all the sports, but football is it. I'll give you a little wrap up on the Devils. They're in an elimination game. They were up 3-0. They're now leading 4-3. It's about 7 minutes left in the second period. I fully expect them to lose. They can't possibly win with all the injuries. So whatever they're doing, I appreciate the effort, but they're not going to come around. What do you guys? What?
That game 3 where they won in double overtime, that was your whole playoffs right there. That right there gets you at least something excited about. You were excited after that game. The place was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen Prudential Center feel like that in a long time. Probably, I don't even want to go into when the last time I ever heard it like that, because as a Ranger fan, I don't need to bring up those days, but
2012.
Yeah.
But the thing was,
whatever.
Even in the locker room speech, Sheldon Keefe said, "I've never been more proud of a team that I've coached than what you guys did tonight, with your backs to the wall, missing not only Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, Dylan, Siegenthaler are playing injured coming in when he came off. Hamilton still hurting a bit. They were missing Glass. Then they were missing Kovacevic. How they put that win together, how they're even competing tonight, it's a testimony to their guts. But eventually you run out of luck, because if you don't have the backups, what are you going to do? But listen, I'm a Devils fan. I'm proud of them, what they're doing tonight. If they survive, awesome. If they don't, you made the playoffs. Of all the New York teams, hockey teams, the Devils made the playoffs, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
But
and
you
the
guys
Hurricanes
got bigger fish to fry. You got the Knicks.
Yeah, hurricanes are a pain in the ass too. I'm not a I
hate them.
I if they were the Whalers, I would be much more excited about them. But when the Hurricanes, not really interested. So
Ranger fans, Islander fans, and Devils fans have one thing in common: we all hate the Carolina Hurricanes.
correct.
So
100%.
So what do you think about the Knicks? They're playing a tight game tonight. They can wrap it up. You think they're going to wrap it up?
I hope so, because did you guys watch the game on Sunday?
Yes.
That game was awesome, right? And this is also the second time, guys, that Jalen Brunson gave the Knicks fan a scare, right? This was, and by the way, it looked way worse than when he tweaked his ankle in game 2. I think it was game 2, right? Yeah, he got tied up in that scramble and was on the ground. They literally had to drag him off the court because he couldn't stand up. So when I saw that, I felt the Knicks fans' hearts just completely stop, because the series is over if that happens, more than likely. Yeah. But I got to give that guy credit, man. He is as tough as a basketball player can get, which isn't saying much, but he is tough, man. I mean, if he misses a game due to injury, it's not BS, right? It's not him just wanting to preserve himself so he doesn't get injured But then, like, when he was in the locker room, I thought it was over. But the Knicks got to wrap it up tonight, and they got to get out of here. And, Cade Cunningham was one shot away from taking the lead with 8 seconds to go. Yeah. And I think this is the kind of series where it's been scrappy. Win this game and just get the hell out of here, because it's getting dangerously close. And, today's Tuesday, so when this is posted, the game's going to be over. But I would love to see the Knicks just get this done tonight. But I also think if you're a Knicks fan, you got to be happy that Cat is answering the bell, playing well.
100%.
Brunson doing what he does. Yeah. Mikal Bridges, who's really been a disappointment, he had a couple of huge 3-pointers on Sunday when they were down 6. Just huge, So I think the Knicks have to win tonight. Hopefully the scrappy series toughen them up for the series, coming up, and hopefully after that. But Mike, what did you think of the series, and what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I agree. You have to get this done tonight. You got a gift in the Orlando Magic beating the Celtics in the game and making them go back to Boston tonight. And I hope that that's a drag out, gutty game, just like this game is for the Knicks and Pistons. But I agree with you, Jeff. Towns is the difference maker here. That's actually going to give them, if they can get through this, is if he's playing the way he's played tonight. And in that last game, that last couple of minutes where he scored 8 points down the stretch, hit the big 3, goes down, makes a couple of dunks and ones. If you can get that out of Towns, that next series against Boston is not a walkthrough for Boston. That is going to be the series. And if you can take one of those first 2 at TD, whatever the hell the name of their arena is up there, and come back to Madison Square Garden 1-1, that place is going to be a zoo. I wish I was there tonight to watch if they end up winning tonight. I wish I was down there to be with all the degenerate Knicks fans bing-bonging it up. But I think you're excited with the way that they're playing. I think if you would love to get a little bit more into Josh Hart, I think the next round is going to be his round. But if you can get this out of Towns and Brunson stays healthy and can still be Brunson, I think you have a puncher's chance against the Celtics.
Well, for your guys' sake, I hope that you're happy at the end of it. I absolutely hate the Knicks, and I have them in I have Detroit in a parlay of all the. Like, I picked 5 series and I parlayed them, and I did pick Detroit because I wanted the extra plus, like Mike would always say. He always picks some of these guys there a big plus number. Yeah. And I'm sure I'm going to lose that, because there's no way the Knicks are going to lose this series. Because I think even if they lose tonight, I think it's going to go 7. And then when they come back home, they'll win. But I'm just not a Knicks fan. I was a Knicks fan back in the day, back when I was a kid. And just John Starks, he just crushed me. I really never liked him. But I'll give you one thing about John Starks. I'll give you one thing about him. I have the utmost respect for him, because when they were playing Houston, he was like, what was he, Mike? 1 for 21? 1 for 20? And everybody was screaming about how horrible he was. But what that showed you was Patrick Ewing. Oh, the great Patrick Ewing. If Patrick Ewing was the leader that everybody said he was, you know what he would have said in one of those timeouts? Hey, John, just get me the ball.
Yeah.
Get me the ball down low. Let me take over. And he never did that. So Starks kind of did that for the Knicks. I will give Starks 1,000,000% credit for that. And but other than that, other than owning John Starks Kia, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to own a Kia. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
But the other thing is too. I mean, we have two really good baseball teams in this city that right now are just like they're moving along because everybody's looking at. We looked at the draft. We got the Knicks. We had a little bit of hockey, but those two teams are dynamite. They really are.
Yep.
I mean, it's like. I mean, I thought the Mets would be good, being 20-9. They're up 8-1 tonight. I think the Yankees are just exactly what we thought they were going to be. They're going to, they're going to be really good. And nights that they don't have pitching, they're going to hit the hell out of the ball. And then you're going to have some nights where you have Fried or you have Warren that are going to throw gems, or Rodon's going to throw a gen.
Yep.
So I think it's really I think it's going to be very exciting this summer. Very exciting.
You know what we have to do, though, if you're a Yankee fan, we have to address the elephant in the room, right? Because as good as it's going right now, first place, tonight they had back-to-back home runs for the second time.
Yeah.
My boy Ben Rice, Aaron Judge, Grisham, guys all of them having great years. The elephant in the room, though, I hate to say it, is Devin Williams.
Oh.
I don't want to see this guy close another game. And Mike, I know you're on board with that. Especially considering the fact, guys, you have Luke Weaver. Right? If you didn't have Luke Weaver, then you kind of have to stick with Williams, and I understand continuing to throw him out there because you don't have a choice. But the Yankees do have a choice, right?
Yeah.
Luke Weaver is a very, very good closer. I would say underrated. He's proven it in big spots.
Yeah.
That Boone did end up making the change. Weaver is officially the closer now. But even if Weaver goes through like one of these, 2-week struggling sessions, I don't want him removed as the closer. I want him to stay the closer. He's proven he can handle it in New York, which Williams is proving I don't think he can.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just tough to have that guy in there. But I will say this, that's not the only issue. Volpe and Jazz Chisholm have been a disaster. And that's kind of flying under the radar because of how good Judge is, how good Ben Rice is this year, Goldschmidt. Grisham. Those guys have been an unmitigated disaster. I mean, Jazz Chisholm, guys, he's batting 179.
Yeah.
179. Yeah. And Boone has to do something here with that lineup because he's a big fan of changing the lineups, right? But for some reason, he has Jazz and Volpe back-to-back. I don't know why he continues to do that. But with that said, a lot of those issues are being masked because the other, 75% of the lineup, they're all having great years.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm very happy with the Yankees so far, despite the small problems.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have ups and downs all year, but the fact that I haven't heard one peep about Aaron Judge batting over 400 with now 9 home runs, 30 RBIs through the month of April, and I haven't heard one peep from anybody about how he's playing. Because everyone's going to go back to the 5th inning of the World Series game. Like, come on, guys. This is an all-around great player who's actually getting off to a phenomenal start, unlike last year, where if he got off to this start last year, he's hitting 70-something home runs at this point because he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn at the beginning of last year, and then all of a sudden found it, and all of a sudden he was hitting it all over the place, and he's getting right off where he left off at the end of last season right now. So I'm excited with them, but I agree with you, Jeff, that Williams is a problem. I saw it on opening day myself, just the body language, the vibes were not there as him coming in as a closer. I was just like, oh boy, I felt it the first day. And, some people put a lot of stock into opening day, but you could tell as soon as a guy gets on that mound at Yankee Stadium, if you're closing for the New York Yankees, you have to have some sort of swagger or some sort of confidence that you're able to throw strikes and get people out. And he's clearly shown that he can't do that right now. So I am with you 100% Weaver's my closer. He showed me something at the end of last year where they desperately needed someone to go in that spot, and he showed he could do it and do it well and do it with the way that Yankees closers are supposed to be. So I'm 100% on board with Weaver being the closer going forward.
I think that the situation with Judge. Listen, the one thing I'll disagree, Mike. I don't think a lot of people are still going back to that game, because I think if you go back to that game and you want to look at Judge in that light, well, you're an idiot. Honestly, you're an idiot if that's what you're going to do. I think what happens with Judge is, I think we all take for granted what he does.
Like it's expected.
Right. It's expected. Aaron Judge is hitting 400. Yeah, okay. That's him. That's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge leads the league in RBIs. Yeah, of course he does. He's Aaron Judge, Yeah.
It's not Volpe doing that.
Right. And it's not fair to Aaron Judge, but I think he gets the accolades that he deserves, but it's just not as loud. And again, I'm not a Yankee fan. I think right now he's by far the best player in baseball, by far. And I just think he's taken for granted. It's like you expect it of him, and that's what happens,
Yeah, but it's amazing watching Alonso as his, it's like Batman and Robin on different teams, right? Because he's having an MVP season himself, which has been. I don't watch Met games often because they're on at the same time. But the Mets have had some day games this year, which was kind of cool. You can watch them too, and then the Yankees. But it is awesome watching Alonso do what he's doing, because I think there was some pressure on him because he had the fans not really coming at him necessarily, but expecting him to have at least a decent year. And man, he has well surpassed those expectations. The Juan Soto thing is interesting because, he's going to play better. I don't think there's any question about it. But right now, it's not that big of a deal. If Juan Soto didn't get this crazy contract, no one's talking about him starting as, I think he's 257 now, his average. Yeah. Not a lot of home runs. But they would just say, slow start. He'll get there. But some people are panicking and saying, this is a massive, waste of money with this contract. Listen, I don't care how good he is. This contract is a waste of money. It's an outrageous contract. So there's nothing that's going to change that. But to be honest with you, like, when Soto starts getting, I think Soto has to get going because this is not going to.
He's starting to hit now. He's really starting to get on it now. He's hitting the ball very hard.
Yeah.
Great. He's going to find holes, so.
Yeah. Because this isn't going to last for the Mets. They're not going to play this great the whole season, and you need Soto to step up.
Absolutely.
He is on my fantasy baseball team, which is notoriously the worst fantasy baseball team of all time.
Mikey Bush.
I have Mikey Bush, 100%. I have. Last weekend, I have my team has Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, and other guys, and I went the entire week without hitting one home run in my fantasy baseball team.
That's pretty funny, actually.
I don't know how I could pick random guys in the box score in the newspaper and find a guy who could hit a home run at that point. It's insane how bad my fantasy baseball team strategy is, because it never works. Last year, I got Julio Rodriguez with my first pick, and he stunk last year. This year, I got Juan Soto with my first pick, and he's not off to a great start in terms of the numbers this year. So, it's probably me at this point. So,
if the Mets were 10-12. They'd be going crazy about Soto.
No doubt.
But they're about to be hopefully 21-9. Alonso's hitting 349 with 28 RBIs.
The pitching is unbelievable too. I mean, the starting
surprisingly
pitching
good
is shockingly good. I did not certainly think it was going to be this good going forward.
Best in the league. Starting pitching 2.51 ERA.
Yeah,
starting pitchers.
With those guys that we know them, but no. Besides maybe Senga, I guess like the national baseball fan doesn't know who these guys are. And they're pitching great. They're pitching. They're consistent. They're consistent and they throw a lot of innings.
It's the pitching lab. We go into the lab. We go into the lab. We come up with some things. We mix some stuff together, and poof, we got a pitcher. So.
Well, they both look good. So let's hope this. Let's hope once, not once it happened back in the early 2000s, but want to see a Yankee Met World Series, man. Let's go.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. So I want to get back to, Mikey wearing the Kentucky Derby outfit, which I worked with Mike for, Mike, how many years? 8 years. I worked with
Yep.
Mike for 8 years, and at 8 years I saw that. And the two of us were like crazy about the Derby. Mike, I know you've looked at the Derby this year. I know you have some picks for the Kentucky Derby. What do you think about the Derby? People pay attention. He actually is very good with horse racing. He's very good with horse racing.
I'm strictly, I'm very much a vibes guy when it comes to horses. I like to see how they do in a couple of races. I go a little bit past performance, a little bit name, a little bit just vibes and odds. So I got my pick to win the whole thing is Tiztastic. It's 20-1. He won the Louisiana Derby going away. I like the price. I think it's fantastic. Tiztastic, just the
It's
vibes all the way
Tiztastic,
around.
Mike.
Right, exactly. So I am going to have him as my pick. And if you want to get a little exotic with things, we're going to do a trifecta with Tiztastic and Citizen Bull and Admire Daytona. That's my trifecta pick. If that hits, you're going to see me in a Rolex on the next podcast, because
he's going to look like
20-1,
Kalanya.
30-1, and 20-1. So that is, I'm going to be doing this from a yacht the next podcast if that trifecta hits.
Put legendary behind yourself too.
Yeah, exactly.
Legendary
Exactly.
on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, I also have a pick. I don't bet the crazy exotics. Although the one horse I like to win is Sandman. A very impressive Arkansas Derby that I watched. I also like the horse Publisher. There's something about Publisher. So if I was to bet any exotics, I would have Sandman on top, Publisher somewhere in there. But Publisher, Sandman is my pick for the Derby. Jeff, do you have any picks for UFC this weekend?
Yes. So I feel like it's been a while since I did this. We got a really good card.
And you didn't send James your picks, right?
Oh, no. James, my bad, brother.
Once again,
I did it again. Twice in a row.
Jeff's UFC picks are sponsored by The Comedy Shop, jjcomedy.com, for all your comedy needs. He has shows in the Myrtle Beach area. He has shows in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. He runs fundraisers. Go to jjcomedy.com. Mike, I just got booked on a show in Pennsylvania. Did you see it? It's in Abington. I don't think that's too far from you.
No, it is not. I'm going to have to come out and see you there.
November 8th. It's at a temple. So would like to have you come out there. Mike and I do have a funny story. I don't know if we can share this from a Knights of Columbus, but Jeff, now with that being said, give us your UFC picks for this week.
Alrighty, so we're going to do a four-legged parlay this week, guys. We're going to start with Robertson over Marina Rodriguez, minus 325. Jillian Robinson has been in the game for now, I guess, like 5 years. She's pretty young. Marina's been around. You guys know, if you follow my picks, I look at age as a huge factor. And also Jillian is just better. So I got Jillian Robertson for my first pick. The next pick, we're going to do Santiago Ponzinibbio over, I know, the more names that are crazy, over Daniel Rodriguez, minus 105. So it's a pretty close fight. I think it should be heavier. I think he should be around minus 170 to 180. So give me Ponzinibbio over Rodriguez. We're going to do the co-main event as well, which is Bo Nickel beating Renier de Ritter. Bo Nickel is a Penn State wrestler. And if you know fighting, if you know wrestling, nothing more needs to be said. That's like the Alabama for football, for wrestling. It is just where it's like the lab, like you said before. It really is. That's minus 325. And then finally, I always do the main event, even if I don't want to do it, but I do want to do this one. Corey Sandhagen over Figueiredo. He's actually minus 500. So again, no explanation needed. Minus 500 says it all. And got a couple of heavy favorites in there, but if you win these four, you get. The last I looked, it was plus 285.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not too bad. But with the two heavy favorites in there, went down a little bit. But just let's get back in the winners column this week.
Guys, I thought about it tonight when I came home. Our pet peeve show, where we had our pet peeves. It is very hard to just pick one or two pet peeves because there are so many things that are just so annoying. I have to add this in now. Do you know how many pillows are on my wife and my bed? On
Give me
our bed?
give me an over under number.
Okay, over under 5.5.
Over.
Way over.
Yeah,
Way over.
Counting the pillows we actually sleep with, there are 10 pillows on the bed.
That's San Peachy.
It's like if I go to bed first and I have to take the pillows off the bed, I'm exhausted by the time I go to lay down in bed. I'm like, how many pillows do we need? I got to tell you, it's just it's completely crazy.
That is a good pet peeve.
It's completely crazy, but guys, this was a very fun show. I love talking about NFL draft and all the other things.
We forgot about my degenerate picks there, Teddy.
Oh, do you? I didn't realize. Oh, you sent them to James too. Yeah, you did.
No,
not,
I did
right?
not. But
you did not. Okay, let me have your degenerate picks.
So, just to recap the last one, the European floorball, we hit our 2-team parlay. We had Langnau win 4-3, and we had the Indians beating the Oilers beating the Indians for a 2-win team there for the parlay. So we did get a win. Finally, we got one, folks. This week we are going. I was watching The Amazing Race, and they were in Bulgaria. So we're going over to Bulgaria to their premier soccer league. Let me pull up the names of these teams, and I apologize if you're Bulgarian because I am not going to be pronouncing these team names correctly. Where is it here? There we go. So they are, for this week, it's a twofer for the people again. We have, there they are. And these games one is on Saturday, and I think one is on Sunday this week. So we have where are they? Here they are. I got them. Sorry about that.
He's trying to get an overseas IPO.
Yeah. So it's on Saturday, May 4th at 8:30 a.m. Actually, they're both on Saturday, May 4th. We have the Cherno More Varna to win
Saturday's
against
May 3rd.
Oh, so it is Sunday the 4th then. So
Sunday the 4th.
Yep.
Okay.
So Cherno More Varna to win minus 115 against the Arda Kardzahali in the first game. And in the second game, we're going to have the Botev Pladdev minus 165 against the Spartak Varna. Those are my picks.
They're tough, Spartak.
Yeah, they're both favorites. I'm trying to go with the favorites here, but if you're up and you're not interested in the Star Wars Day on May the 4th, go watch some Bulgarian soccer in the morning, and hopefully you'll win some money on the Derby picks before then, and then go right into Sunday and go watch some Bulgarian soccer.
Guys, I actually have two things that I forgot to clue you in on before we started that I want to touch on really quick. First one is, have you guys watched Welcome to Wrexham, the show about the soccer team that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney own? Well, I don't know if you know this. You know, they started in like that low division thing.
The fourth division of English soccer.
Okay, well, they just got promoted again. They are now in the Championship League, which means there's only one league higher than them, and that's Premier League. And what that means for them, now, Jeff, you know, in English soccer, if you finish in the top 2 of the league, you're automatically promoted. And then I think 1 or 2 other teams from they have a playoff, actually get promoted. And then the league above you, the bottom 4 get demoted.
Okay.
Okay. But the difference is the league they played in this year, which was level 1, EFL 1, they got about 13 million in revenue from like TV and stuff like that. Going now to the Championship League, it jumps to $41 million.
Wow.
And for them, they were in the as low as you can go. And in like 3 years, they've jumped 3 levels. And now they're one step away really from being in Premier League, which is amazing. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but the Premier League is the Premier League. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's
the other
9
thing
figures
is,
plus if you get to that. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's Liverpool and Manchester U and amazing teams. That's going to be tremendous. And they play at this little place called the Race Course, and it probably only holds about 5,000-6,000 people, which they're going to have to upgrade. But did you guys see the Bill Belichick interview on CBS Morning?
Yeah. God, thank God the Giants didn't sign him. Jesus.
I gotta tell you.
Oh boy.
It's a problem.
I hate him. I'm nervous for him.
Well, like mentally or just like
You need like
I think
like a trusted contact person for him. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm nervous about what this girl's gonna do. Like she seems out of her mind.
Like she's jumping in, stopping the interview. We're
like,
not going to talk.
Jumping in. And like there was a video of her walking up to him, telling him what to say.
Right.
When the hell did Bill Belichick ever let his you-know-whats drop and letting her tell you what to say in an interview? Like, what are you kidding me? I couldn't believe it.
As Shorzy says, give your balls a tug, Bill.
Seriously, man.
The other thing is, too, that I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I was listening to Boomer and Gio about what she actually does for a living, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. I heard that this morning, too.
And the thing is, I mean, and he shows up. You know, Bill, we know you're cooler than everybody. You got your Navy shirt with a hole in it. Come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And they said
I would escort that shirt off, if you know what I mean.
And the other thing is, in North Carolina, they said now they're getting nervous because last week or 2 weeks ago, he asked them to include her on every email they send him. And
that's crazy.
And her signature on her email is CEO of Bill Belichick Enterprises.
Which does not exist.
I mean, what is going on over there? Jeff, you're so lucky the Giants didn't pursue that. She would be your GM.
She would be the GM.
She'd be the GM.
Boy.
The good news is, say what you want about Maryland, there is a 0% chance he would allow this to continue. Like her interjecting in interviews, 0%. North Carolina, they're bowing down to him right now, right?
Yeah.
So, man, that is going to be an ugly situation.
Wait till that
moving forward.
And the best part about the breakup is that when he leaves in his contract, it says that his son becomes the head coach.
That's in the contract?
He's in the contracts. His son becomes the head coach.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
Unreal.
Well, guys, this was a fun episode. I had to throw those few things in there because it was out there. I didn't want to wait a week. Remember, subscribe, like. Show should be out very soon. Enjoy the Kentucky Derby. Enjoy the Knicks in the playoffs. Hopefully we have the Devils continuing. If you're a Mets and a Yankees fan, boom, let's do this. Okay, together. Let's do this together. Let's get to the World Series. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great night.